cat. I'm going to go outside and maybe some time. Okay, so I'm not going to lie, I'm about literally 10 minutes walk away from the house that I'm living in the middle of central Ontario. And I've recently retired and moved here. One of the things I wanted to do was start to relearn how to do winter camping in a tent. Not the traditional canvas tent with a stove in it, but an actual tent. So as part of that process, I came out here not too far in case I get too cold. I have to go back because I don't want to get hypothermia and die. And I'm going to set my tent up. I'm video part of it, not a lot of it. In terms of what I brought with me, I've put together a whole bunch of stuff, but I intend to stay out overnight and probably go back tomorrow morning. The snow forecast tonight is about 22 to 28 centimeters, which is about 8 to 10 to 11 inches. So it's going to get a workout, and we'll see how the tent survives that. The other thing is as well, temperatures right now, it's pretty cold. There is a bit of a wind. I'm expecting the wind to get very bad tonight and the blizzard to really strongly hit. So we'll see how it goes. First thing, the number one important thing for winter camping in a tent compared to most things is, are you in an avalanche area? I'm not. But that's one thing you should be looking at. If you're in an avalanche area, leave as quickly as you can, but quietly. The other thing you have to do, have a really good look at the trees. You don't want any widowmakers falling on you. And you can probably see one there, and other than that I should be reasonably safe in this area because I'm actually going to camp right there, so it should be okay. The next thing I'm going to do, and this is a variable thing, now I don't have a huge amount of snow. I have maybe 2 inches on the ground with a crusty ice base because we haven't had much snow yet this year. Normally there'd be a foot or two here, so it's going to start tonight. I'm going to make the base, tamp it down. Now when I first arrived you might see me sticking the stakes in, and that's what you do. You go all around the area, and what you're doing is looking for holes underneath that are filled with snow, because if you have a big hole full of snow, blowing snow, and you tamp it down, it feels firm, and you put a tent on it, chances are by some radiant heat from your body through the base of the tent, maybe during the night you weaken that structure enough for it to collapse, and at 3 in the morning you probably won't die unless you're on top of a crevasse, but you probably will be woken up in a tent that's collapsed with everything everywhere upside down, and it's not a great thing. So that's something you should habitually check for. I don't think that's a big issue. I think it's something I definitely will check for. I know this area very well, but in other times when I'm going further out, I won't know the area so well. The other thing is I need to have communications. I need to have a satellite distress beacon. I have not got one yet. I will be getting one. So in the meantime, because we're not that far, I'm going to use little walkie-talkies. Kitty's going to have one, I've got one. Probably should reach, and we'll get on with it because it's getting late in the day and I'm going to lose the sunlight. And as a special feature, once the tent's up and I'm in here tonight, you will see me drink this as part of my series on drinking 24 nice whiskies. So I've tamped it down base, found some sticks on the base which I'm going to remove. The big issue here for me is going to be whether the tent stays warm enough with the sleeping bag, and is it actually going to be safe to sleep really far out and all of that. Now everybody is going to say straight off the bat, where's your snowshoes? I don't need them right now. I might need them tomorrow, and I have them. The other thing that strikes me is the pack is pretty big, pretty unwieldy and very heavy. I will use a sled to pull it. This is the tent. So a couple of things. I'm not using a foot pad ground sheet. These are only really useful to actually protect the base of the tent from abrasion from gravel and rocks and twigs. So I don't really need it, so I'm not going to put it in there because it's just something else to get bound up and caught up. I'm also not using tent pegs. There's a whole bunch of stuff online. I'll show some pictures and to talk about it right now. A lot of people use found wood. I don't. Most of my wood that's on the ground at this time of year is brittle and it's just going to snap, so what's the point? One of the things to do in snow, deep snow specifically, is to scoop holes out. Put stuff that you don't mind leaving in the hole, attach them to the tent guy ropes independently using a strong twine or something like that. So in the morning or whenever you're leaving camp, if you can't actually dig it out because it's frozen solid, you can just cut the twine and leave it, and the actual tent's not touched at all. One of the things I'd really like to do in this area is like to use rocks. Again, be very careful how you place them, especially in high winds. You don't want to rip the tent. And of course the obvious thing for me is just use snow. As it falls tonight, I probably will be awake because it'll be cold. I can get out there and strengthen the top with snow. Let's put the tent up. No rocks, no twigs. This pack is mostly sleeping bag. It's already down to -18, so I should be warm. I bought a tent blanket just in case. I haven't opened these, but I have them tonight. If it starts to get too cold, but it's not dangerous, I'll put these on. I have a flashlight, pocket box hygiene kit, deluxe pillow. I like a proper pillow. Making one out of clothing and a stuffed sack doesn't work very well for me. If you're going to do that, have a pillow on top and blow it up. Bear in mind, all the moisture in my breath in here is going to freeze. So when I take all this stuff down, I'm going to put it in the house. I'm going to have everything open because I actually want the water that's going to condense on the inside of this to drip out. And I want this to be very dry inside next time. Spare socks. Air mattress, don't know about these. I was thinking of like in a solid foam one, and I think I need to find out. So I'm going to go with what I would normally go 3-season camping and use this. You never know, eh? But I have a feeling I'd be better off going with the solid foam one, even though it's more bulky. Certainly if I am bringing stuff on a sled, it's going to be a lot easier to carry bulky gear that's light. This is a synthetic liner. I really like synthetic material in the winter. People can argue about this all day long, I'm not going to. But I have a liner in case the bag's too cold in the middle of the night. It's going to give me an extra layer. That on the blanket, maybe it'll work. If that doesn't work, then I'll put the extra clothing on. If that doesn't work, I'm going to go in and have a coffee. First aid kit, something you should always have. Wood, accelerant, fire starting gear, dry, in double bags, ready to go. This won't be going in the tent. Biolite stove to make coffee in the morning with. This is something I think is really an essential. Once I actually bed down for the night, again, this is a pocket box. Don't take it out of me, I subscribe because I find them amusing. But this is the sort of thing you want, maybe even a bit bigger than this. This is going to be my entryway to the tent. So my boots and shoes and anything else is discarded onto this before I get into the tent, including clothing. Because as you'll probably see tomorrow, if I was out here for a couple of minutes, I'd be drenched in snow trying to get back inside. So you'd quickly shuck it off, get in there and then deal with it. Don't want to get snow in the tent. So until I'm ready to use this, it goes in a bag by the doorway. That's the main bag. I have water in the spare bag, but I have water in here that's actually a little warm. So for making coffee and all that stuff, I can use the water directly. One's going to be boiling, one's going to be tepid. So I can use the BioLite with the tepid water or the boiling water if it cools off. What I'm going to do over the next few months is figure out how to get water out of the ground when the ground is really, really cold and is very, very solid. I have some ideas, but for tonight, all I want to do is make sure this tent and this sleeping bag system works, because if it doesn't work, no point getting fanciful. This is probably a better camera angle. So I'm just kneeling directly on the snow. It's really cold and dry, and I have insulated pants on. But you could use a little mat like that for that. I have a bear flare. It's accidentally in the bag. Notebooks and pens. Some pencils, because ink will freeze. And that's in there. I'm actually shocked I brought this. It's a distress flare, I guess. The notes are for emergencies, you know, recalling stuff if you're on a long distance journey, or if you need to get help, or if you're getting unconscious and you can't get yourself out because you've miscalculated very badly and you don't have a satellite beacon. At least you can leave them notes saying who you are and that you're dead. So you probably saw this in the summer, and I brought it anyway. It's got a few bits and bobs in it. You can look at that later. Cooking, spoons, dinner, snacks, micro towel for water processing and toweling off. Won't be using that this time, but I will be using the coffee, and a flashlight that's BioLite compatible, so I can charge this when I plug the stove in. Cleaning stuff. Wet wipes great for toilet. Number 2, gel for emergency food, and some more coffee. Anyway, I've got plenty of time to look at all of this stuff. I'm not going to get into bear wear stuff. They really should all be sleeping at this time of the year. If they're not, I'm kind of out of luck. I'm just going to tidy up and inflate everything and put the tarp on this. I'm going to need this tarp. So I'm set up, and all I need to do now is keep this closed, put the tarp on. Like I say, I'm going to get maybe a foot of snow before the morning, so it's going to be interesting. In terms of that, anyone up north should have one of these. It's a snow shovel. There are very cheap lighter ones, etc., for avalanches and all the rest of it, but this will do its job. This goes in the tent because I might get snow and I might have to actually dig out if we get a foot or even 2 foot of snow down with wind. So this is really what I wanted to do in my retirement. I have no problems doing this sort of thing. I really enjoy it. But like I say, I'm doing this a gradual way. Just going to spend the night in here and maybe try to make a breakfast in the morning, depending on weather conditions. I'm then going to go further off on our own property, so Kitty knows exactly where I am, and I know exactly the topography of the land without snow and ice, so I can get back to the house if I'm having problems. Once I know this gear works in the winter, for the conditions I face and the conditions that might be facing by accident, I will get myself a beacon for emergencies, and I'm going to go across lakes, and I'm going to go to little islands and crown land, and I'm going to do some wild camping for a night or 2 or even 3 or 4 sometimes, I think. And that's what we're doing. But right now our priority is to settle into our new home, get everything sorted out in terms of systems, and to enjoy ourselves. But I really don't have much time. So in case this has ran on too long, that's it from me, and stay tuned for the night and the snow and the hike back coming soon. This has been an Arctic Terrier production.